Today we're jumping into one of the most famous, or maybe I should say infamous, couples in all of literature, Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. We're going to take a look at the anatomy of their downfall and really dig into how their shared dream for power completely tore them apart, leading to two very different, very tragic ends.
You know, when we first meet them, they are just so perfectly in sync. I mean, they're this formidable, unified team with one single ruthless goal in mind. They honestly seem unstoppable, a real force to be reckoned with in the cutthroat world of medieval Scotland. And that's really the big question hanging over their whole story, isn't it? They actually do it, they achieve their dream, they get the crown, but the victory just feels empty. So we're going to track exactly how their partnership, which was forged in this intense ambition, just fractures and falls apart under the weight of what they've done. Okay, so to really understand where it all went so wrong, we have to start with what made them so powerful in the first place, and that was their incredible shared ambition.
What's so striking is just how completely aligned they are. This wasn't a case of one person pushing the other into something. No, they both had this overwhelming parallel hunger for the Scottish crown. For them, power was the ultimate prize, and they were both more than willing to do whatever it took to get it.
And Macbeth himself admits it. In this quiet moment of self-reflection right before the murder, he lays it all out. He doesn't have a real reason to hate King Duncan. There's no noble cause here. His only motivation is this raw, personal desire for more. It's pure, unchecked ambition, and it's driving this entire tragedy.
And boy, were they perfect partners in crime. It's a chillingly effective two-step plan. Step 1, Lady Macbeth comes up with the whole strategy. Get the guards drunk, use their own daggers. Step 2, Macbeth is the one who carries out the actual deed, the assassination. It's this perfect, awful collaboration, built entirely on their shared willingness to cross any line. So they pull it off. They win. The crown is theirs. But this is where the real story begins. The act of murder itself becomes the fault line, the crack that's eventually going to split them apart, both psychologically and emotionally. And the first major way they start to diverge is in how each of them handles the absolutely crushing weight of their guilt. And the difference is just immediate and so stark. In the moments right after the murder, Macbeth is an absolute mess. He's completely horrified by what he's done. Lady Macbeth, on the other hand, is shockingly practical, focused only on covering their tracks. And just listen to the imagery here. He's staring at his bloody hands right after killing the king, and he feels like his guilt is so deep, so staining, that not even an entire ocean could wash him clean. It's this immediate, overwhelming sense of being spiritually corrupted forever. And while the contrast couldn't be sharper, for her, in that exact same moment, the solution is simple. The evidence is just physical, it's not spiritual. All you have to do is wash your hands, and the problem is gone. It's just a terrifyingly simplistic way of looking at a truly monstrous act. So this initial difference in how they react, well, it basically sets them on two completely separate paths for coping. Psychologically, they go in opposite directions. Macbeth turns his guilt outward, it grows into paranoia and violence, and he starts seeing threats everywhere. Lady Macbeth does the opposite. She turns her guilt inward, bottling it up, and it just slowly eats away at her from the inside. Later on, when he's king, he confesses to her that his mind is full of scorpions. His thoughts have literally become poisonous. They're torturing him, and this guilt is what drives him to commit even more murders, like killing his friend Banquo, all without even telling his former partner in crime. He's acting completely on his own now. Meanwhile, you get these rare moments when Lady Macbeth is alone and her steely resolve just crumbles. She admits to herself that they've gained nothing. They spent everything to get the crown, but there's no satisfaction, no happiness. The victory feels completely and utterly hollow. And all this guilt and paranoia brings us to the next key difference in their downfall, how they each express their growing fear and anxiety. Macbeth just completely loses his composure. His fear is raw, it's visible, it's public. He simply can't contain it. Lady Macbeth, though, she keeps up that iron facade. She pushes her fear down in public, even though we can see it chipping away at her when she's alone. The banquet scene is the absolute perfect example of this. First, Macbeth starts seeing Banquo's ghost, a total hallucination born from his guilt. Second, he absolutely panics in front of all his noble guests.
Third, Lady Macbeth is there, desperately trying to do damage control, making excuses for him. And finally, she has no choice but to kick everyone out, their reputation just in tatters. And you can just feel her frustration in this line. As Macbeth is yelling at an empty chair, she pulls him aside and scolds him for being so weak, for being infirm of purpose. It's her last-ditch effort to manage her husband and keep up this illusion of control, but it's clear the partnership is totally broken. So where does this all lead? Let's take a moment and just summarize the tragic psychological consequences of all their ambition. When you boil it all down, it looks like this. In response to guilt, Macbeth turns to outward violence, while Lady Macbeth withdraws into this deep internal melancholy. And in response to fear, Macbeth has these public panic attacks, while Lady Macbeth maintains that controlled exterior, hiding a private anxiety that will, in the end, completely consume her.
And that, right there, is really the core takeaway. Two people can commit the exact same crime, together, as partners, but their minds, their souls, will process that trauma in fundamentally different ways, sending them down two completely separate paths to destruction.
Which leaves us with one final, haunting question. Their shared ambition was the bond that made them so powerful, but their individual guilt was the force that tore them apart. He died in battle, a tyrant consumed by violence. She died off stage, totally consumed by her own mind. So who do you think truly paid the higher price?